Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. It is the day after the day after the day that Saturnalia ended. So Saturnalia is over. Me and Brandon came out of our tinfoil protected underground bunkers, and we are back. What's up, brother?
What's going on, Richie, brother? Glad to be back. Glad that the revelry's over with. I can go back to being a happy man that doesn't have to live that this prolonged season out for 3 more months. It's over now. We can get on down the road. Thankfully.
I did not dig the holiday. Everybody I know is trying to do their thing. So I took my camera, I hit the inner city, and I went and finished recording for part 2 of the survival video, the urban one. So I'm working on it. I got a lot of footage and stuff, but I just stayed away. I don't want to bum people out, man. I'm not going to tell them. Everybody that I've seen damn well should know that what I told them 10 years ago is happening right above them. And it all started with chemtrails. And that's going to be a heavy piece of this topic tonight, because everybody saw the ring of fire happening on the other side of the earth, the plane, whatever you want to call it. We got footage of that, but I've also got crazy footage of chemtrailing. I know I've already seen the chat. People are saying in Alaska and Kentucky, down south, Louisiana, they just ain't seeing the sun no more. And I think that's going to be the new normal because, well, how about this? Why else? Why else, after all this time, would the government finally come out and say, yeah, we're going to start using your money to fund blocking out the sky, even though it's been going on for 2, 3, 4 decades? What, in your opinion, why would MIT just be the vehicle that they use to come out? This is the article that says the U.S. government is going to fund chemtrailing. It shows the sun behind a cloud. It shows an airplane, and then it shows a chemtrail going right by. What do you think of that?
Well, first, and we always go to this is the beta testing, right? They lie while people are still intelligent enough to care. And then they finally get to the point with the predictive programming and putting it out there in people's consciousness enough to say that you've had the David Keese and everybody else going around for the last 10 years saying it's good for us, right? Well, now they can stop with the beta testing and roll it out and say, well, here we go, folks, because climate change is going to kill you. We're going to save you. And the masses pre-programmed to accept that reality and now take it, and there's no issue because daddy government, their savior, their hero, is gonna protect them from themselves, right? And of course, this is what we see transpire with this. It's the same thing, and don't want to rant too long, but I'm gonna discuss this weekend the Hegelian dialectic and how that plays out into pushing us towards a new synthesis. And that's what you see. We fight back and forth on these lines, and then they synthesize it anyway. They don't care. And we should take a little poll here in the chat too. I know it's been 5-6 days since we've seen the sun right here in Louisiana. How many people are experiencing the same thing? We've had the great ceiling over us for the last 5-6 days. Like I said, how many others are experiencing that?
Yeah, it's pretty heavy where we're at. We haven't seen the sun in a long time. But yeah, if you guys are seeing the sun, give a thumbs up. If you're not, thumbs down. Real quick, real easy. But this is the sky over my driveway today. The sun sets. The suns are completely gone. If the sun is out at all, it shows up for a half an hour, and then from 1 o'clock in the afternoon till it sets, it's completely and totally eviscerated. You cannot see it. This is a sunset. This is a typical sunset in New England right now. And it looks literally apocalyptic. You know what I'm saying? It's just absolutely insane. Totally and completely insane. How's that spelling right there? I spelled chemical wrong and I spelled sigil wrong.
Hey, and they know this. Listen, the sun, the light from the sun boost our consciousness. Okay, it's just part of the conscious problem. It boosts our conscious. It gives us essential vitamins. So we were talking about this before we went live. It's a multiple layered deal, but it's the reality of cabin fever, right? You go so long without the sun, you start to go crazy. And of course, this time of year, as we're in the dead of winter, you never see the sun. This stuff that's pretty gnarly right there. Not gnarly in a good way, but
well, that was what I was pointing out. Mike Decker, check out this sunset right here. I'd never seen this before because it's a circle within a circle within a circle within a circle within a circle. This was last night. Now, after this clip plays through, you're going to see the plane spraying today. And I was talking to Brandon before we went live. Every time I looked in the sky, I videotaped it. It looked exactly like they were filling the atmosphere with demonic sigils. If you look through these clouds, you can see them here as well. But I've never. This looks like a drop in a puddle of water, and it's the sky.
Right,
rippling. It's right here, someplace. You just can't see it anymore. And every night the skies have been blood red. So I'm using a good camera. It's got a great lens, great camera, but it takes a second to focus. It's not a Nikon, so you're gonna have to apologize. That it's a serious camera, but apparently not for real long distance shots. But I mean, this is insane. This looks like Independence Day.
Yeah, a good analogy, metaphor right there. That's exactly what it looks like. Yeah, and I've got photos on my camera because when I see the sigils in the sky, I've got a Star of Rim fan. I've got the
Brandon, say a prayer. I meant it because I'm going to show something. Oh my, I just forgot. You want to do that real quick, brother?
Yeah.
Stand by. Let me put this up. My bad.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys. Hey, Father, we come unto you asking for protection and guidance towards the truth at all times, and keep us safe, all of us safe from any sigils or any demons attached to this. Father, let your word not return unto you void, but let it accomplish that which you please and prosper in the thing where you sent it. In your precious Son's name we pray. Hey, while we're talking about prayer, I want to talk about one guy, and I hope he's in here tonight. He sent me an email today. He's battling alcoholism. So, hey, man, you're in my prayers. I'm going to email you back. Hey, guys, if y'all struggle with anything like that, just know I personally, I've beat those demons too. You gotta quit it. You gotta quit it and get your mind back and gain the strength to defeat those inner demons, folks. It can be done. Richie's a testament to that.
Indeed.
And look, you got to get your mind clear because with all that stuff in your body and blocking you from the spiritual connection with the Father and with Yahushua, you'll never get it. And I'm telling you that once you do get happy, you can get rid of that. You can still have joy even in this wicked world because the Father is your joy. That's your joy. Even in the land of the wicked, you can get it back.
Hey, real quick, because I called Brandon for this live stream and I just didn't want to do it because it's easy when the sun goes down at 4:00 and you don't see it in the first place.
Sure is.
But I forgot to start this with a prayer, even though I've got demonic sigils all queued up right above us. I can't believe I forgot that, but at least we pulled it in quick enough. I want to say a shout out or a thank you to John and Mary Riley, Kim Head, and Jerry Smith. These guys sent me a gift, which was very cool. Don't use my email because that's not my PayPal. Just saying. I never say it because it's not how I roll. But these guys figured it out. I just want to say I appreciate it. And also, I believe I'm going to have Richard Whitehead. Him and his wife have followed me. They send me a prayer every single solitary morning for the last, I think, 6 years at exactly 8:00 in the morning, no matter what. If I'm on the road, they always try to corral me into a hotel. Like, hey, we know it's been a while. You should be doing a live stream. We'll get you a hotel. And I usually say thank you anyways. But Richard and Debbie are fighting with the local sheriff. And I'm gonna see if doing a live stream might be of some help as far as getting the word out there. But it sounds like another, I don't know, dare I say Bundy Ranch type thing, except I happen to know these guys aren't crisis actors or shady. So
well, no, they're
Richard, hold up. Richard, I didn't forget you. I will hit you back. We'll see how we can make this work. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, is it the Bureau of Land Management again?
No, it's a sheriff. It's a local.
Well,
they live out in Montana or Idaho, one of the two.
That's a shame because the sheriff is a common law jurisdictional entity and is not supposed to be have the same capacity or authority as the police, which is the metropolis, which is your city, nation, state protectors. The sheriff is that's where it comes from. The shire is from your books of your tens and your hundreds, which is another biblical thought process too. Anyway, but they've all, I'm sure they've all been sucked into this beast system. Yeah, if they've got any questions that they want to send to me, Richie, I can do a little digging, and I'd be glad to help as much as I can. You're not legally supposed to give legal advice, but I can give friends directions.
All right. Yeah. Well, that's cool, because they've been. One day, it took 7 days for me to realize that, hey, I haven't got a text at 8 o'clock in the morning with a prayer. I usually look at it. Sometimes I try to respond, whatever. But it took several days, and then I finally hit them up, and I said, hey, is everything okay? They said, actually, not so much. We're having problems with the sheriff. And I said, if there's anything I can ever do, well, he texted me the other morning. So I don't know what I can do, but whatever I can do to help a subscriber, absolutely I will. And also, Peabody's mom, she's usually in the chat. You guys have probably, I've done a lot of YouTubes where all the news links were straight from her. She's in the hospital battling pneumonia right now. One of her friends reached out to me through social media. So I said a prayer for Peabody's mom earlier. You guys probably should too. Pneumonia is no joke, especially when it hospitalizes you. This sounds like a really bad news YouTube video so far, doesn't it, dude?
Well, no, actually, this is called fellowship and coming together and prayer warriors and getting out and just getting our mindsets and our thoughts and our prayers towards other people. It actually is an uplifting deal. We are brothers and sisters, and we're called to look out for one another. And you know, it's probably. I spent a lot of time trying to message a lot of people back.
It's hard, dude.
I know.
Remember when we first started talking? I'm like, it's gonna get crazy. It does. And then check this out, because I know you've run into this, and I want subscribers and people that are following us to hear this. Some people, some of the worst trolls ever are people that simply sent you an email and you didn't see it. And maybe they sent you another email and you didn't see it. It isn't possible, or you'd never leave this desk. You'd sit here all day. They take that as that MFer. He's ignoring me. And then they get into this whole thing on themselves. The next thing you know, they're having arguments with you in emails that you don't even see.
That's it.
If you didn't return your email, we will. All right. It's just hard.
Yeah, you get 150 emails, 200. I can't even imagine how many you get a day. And the questions that are asked of me are sometimes so in depth. If I have to reply something, I can't just give you a half answer, especially when somebody's asking questions about the law and other things. I can't just give you a half answer. That's not going to be that way. That's not how I roll.
Plus, in your situation where people are asking you for things like that, you have to use discernment to make sure they're not trying to cornhole you.
That's right. That's right.
Snare you. You know what I'm saying? Because we know they're out there. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, and it becomes it just becomes paramount to discern and know that one single man. I don't have a administrator or a secretary going through all this stuff and delegating it to me. I got to read every single post and reply on YouTube, on BitChute, on Twitter, and now email.
Right. Because that's all you need is you give somebody advice and they're like, hey, how you doing? I'm the local cornholio.
Don't you know only bar practicing attorneys are able to give legal advice?
That's right. Where's your black road? Why aren't you mourning?
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
That's right. And that's so you can't practice the law unless you're of course there's a little trick to that. But anyway, y'all know what I mean.
Do you want to put your email out there or no?
Yeah, go ahead. You can give it to him. B. Sibley, go, type it in. You got it, buddy.
Go ahead. B. Sibley at
B. Sibley 97 at Gmail. 97 at gmail.com.
All right. So yeah, we got through yesterday, and it's funny because everybody that I know that was so excited about the holiday and so forth, I'm watching them all be depressed today, but for different reasons. You know, like they didn't get the material item they were hoping for or whatever. Everyone puts so much pressure on themselves. There's so much guilt. I feel bad. Well, I feel bad, but I walked away. I was out in the woods and I was good with it.
the families fighting over who gets more time.
Right. It's sad.
What I did yesterday in the little bit of time I was with my family and around them while they're doing that celebration, I just told them, I said, listen, all I ask each and every one of you to do is pay attention. If you would have paid attention yesterday, but anyway, pay attention the next few days at every single one of these stores and how quickly they shift from this into Valentine's. And for here, Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras is the next big revelry here in this area. But it's just one commercial holy day after another, folks. And I mean, everybody comes together, all these forced interactions with family where nobody really wants to be there. And everybody goes and buys stuff that they really don't need. And of course, this goes back into Bernays. We got to shift America from a need society to a want society. And once you shift them from a need to a want society, then it's all about self. And of course, we see this transpire with all these holidays.
I agree. Sorry, bro. I don't know where my head's at today.
It's okay, brother.
Well, like I said, I put up 4 different pieces and I can't quite figure out what the link is, but I've prayed for this, like, show me this. And I'm afraid that when he's showing me this, I'm missing something, which is why I hit you up. I'm like, you know what? Let me pull Brandon in on this because he's good at this stuff. So we've got the Ring of Fire happening in one part of the earth. We've got incredible chemtrailing to the point where, I mean, I'm videotaping them. They're not just spraying, they're drawing. They're making sigils above me. And I keep thinking of the word magic. And then all of a sudden, why don't you bring us up to speed on this right here? All of a sudden, Netanyahu's having all sorts of problems over there. There's attacks, and suddenly Israel's very, very weak, and they're all sorts of the place. Netanyahu's been rushed to a bomb shelter because they're trying to kill him. This sounds like they're setting the stage on the other side right now.
Yeah, well,
you know what I'm saying?
No, I completely agree. Well, we have to. What's the Sun
Hegelian dialectic? Watch one hand, and the other one's getting it going.
Well, that too, and Sun Tzu's Art of War, right? When you're strong, you got to feign weakness and everything else, but you have to show a little give and take on all these dialectics and how they work. Hegel's dialectical system. I put a big Twitter post out today, a long thread on the dialectic, because we're going to talk about that this weekend. But the truth is that they have to pump fear on one side. So even if support in Israel is waning for Netanyahu, is you got to bolster it up, and then you pull people in with emotions, and that's the overall.
Without a doubt, their favorite way to get people to love the politicians is to make believe that politicians are in danger.
That's right.
And what is better than rushing him to a bomb shelter? Rushing him to a bomb shelter.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of that, I noticed a tweet that you did the other day. I'm rarely on Twitter, but I do have an account. And I retweeted it, and you were pointing out that Jake Morphonius's name actually had Morphonius. Like, dude, He popped up out of nowhere. His family has Central Intelligence Agency ties. He came out of nowhere. He went up to 250,000 in 2 years, which is unheard of. That's a lot of subscribers in no time at all. And then suddenly, when YouTube started threatening, when Alex Jones got pulled into court about the people in Connecticut, he came out and started just saying that. I mean, he was just so ignorant and belligerent. Anyone that believes anything other than the official story in Newtown, Connecticut is an absolute ridiculous idiot asshole. I could see him setting himself up so that if anything happened, his channel didn't go anywhere, because he's been over there marketing left and right since day one.
Oh, yeah. In his latest video, and the guys like that I pay attention to. And the reason why I pay attention to him is because I keep waiting for, and that was the first time I went and outed him as a shield, because it was the perfect opportunity to out him. His latest video is about how you need to decide who to vote for or not against. That way you can bolster your chances to be ruled by your favorite psychopath. But the truth is that me as a minority as that doesn't vote, it doesn't matter which way you vote. The 51% is always putting the boot on the other 49%. This is democracy. That's my rule, right? This is ruled by states, and so morph is to change, right? So phonios is to change. It was a funny play on words, but he's a phony. He's another one of those limited hangout gatekeepers that pull you back in to the system, and we're going to continue to expose this, folks. You can't have two masters. You either cling to one or hate the other. And the state is a secular deity. Hegel said that too, by the way. Charles Hegel said that the state is a secular deity, along with Aristotle, Isocrates, and many, many, many others. This didn't just start. It started with Hammurabi. And probably even before then, really, but Hammurabi is our first incarnation of the nation city state that we know.
And speaking of Hammurabi, I'll leave a link to the live stream that Justin, whatever the hell your name is, and I did the other day, where you covered all those guys, all those placards that are sitting in the what was it, the Hall of Congress or whatever,
on Capitol, the Capitol, the TOL, and that's on Olympia Drive, and that's where the House of Congress is.
All right, cool. And your name's Brandon again, and you have a YouTube.
Yeah, it's Brandon. I got a
nice.
YouTube channel somewhere, buddy.
All right, cool. All right, my bad.
I did get a haircut, and my head's about 3 shapes smaller too, so I guess I could be Justin or whatever. Hey, Tony.
Somebody did point that out. They said, "Ding, dang it, Brandon. Those clippers went awfully deep." That comment's long gone, but
yeah, I love it. I can't stand hair on my head.
All right, you want to tell us? This is what I lured you in with originally. I didn't mention anything about the chemical sigils in the sky, but let's take a peek at this. And can you break this down for the slower kids like myself? What is this really? This is from Breaking Israeli News. The Sanhedrin hosts the menorah lighting, which I'm sure is a pretty common thing, but what is it they're showing right here? I'm going to deal with you, Mount Sir. I will stretch out my hand against you and make you an utter waste. And it says in quote unquote or parentheses the Israel Bible.
Yeah, and so the Israel takes out where the English version does Lord. They put in Hashem, and that's another secular deity too. Of course, you see they replaced the Tetragrammaton, which means four letters, which is Yod Hey Wah Hey, which is Yahuwah. But what you have here is
that how you say it? Dude, I don't mean, is that how you say it? Because I was trying to say that in my driveway today for whatever reason. Yohei, Vadhei.
That would be singular before you put them together. Yod Hey Vahe. It really Wahe is WAW. But either way, it's Yahuwah. And especially the Yah is where it really comes from, like as in hallelujah. But that's the first letter. So they have Hashem, and Hashem is another one of their secular deities. But if I would like to know whether they lit the inside candle and the outside candle, because if they did, you would count from the outside to the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 would be the center. And then you would take the center again and count back to the outside that's lit, like they did in Washington, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have your 8, which is your infinity, time, and Saturn, but you'd also have Saturn and Jupiter at the same time, because the sigil of the actual zodiac sign of Jupiter is the number 4. And the flip and mirror to that is Saturn, which is H plus, which is why the transhumanism movement has the H plus in it, is because that's the Saturn deal. But yeah, so this is all when you're dealing with these guys. This is phallic worship. Everything is perverted with the Sanhedrin and all these sickos. And Mount Seir is of course the Edomites, and no better way to fool people is to sit there and quote prophecy to you about the Edomites, which they are.
Unbelievable, man. What are you chuckling about, brother?
Because, man, it's just the craziness that is this world, and how everybody plays this. It's like watching real-time movie, right? Because they are portraying this righteous and pious being, but really they are the very ones. That's why they quote Mount Seir, right? And if you ever go back and look into Mount Seir archaeology and the buildings that they built, it's what eventually became Rome. It was Roman architecture, but it was Mount Seir first.
What was the name of that live stream that we did the other night? The one that you were talking about, those placards, which, I mean, I don't know if I did ask you, how did you see those and all that information came to you? How did you see those placards? Just because Moses was the only one looking forward, you looked at that and said, that's
well, when I started dissecting that, right, and I saw the 11 and 11 on the site, when it says 11, when it says 11 are looking to the left and 11 are looking to the right, well, that's when I went up and actually inspected each placard. And then as I was looking through them, I was like, hold on now. There's something being said here. And then I just saw Moses with forward. And when I blew up the Moses, I said, Moses has got horns coming out of his head. So at that point in time, I knew I was in the right place to start really breaking it down. And once you can see the double speak, just like on them like the menorah and everything else, right? Everything's a ritual. That's why they listen. They want you involved with the ritual. That's why it's on the news. That's why it's on the TV. They are indoctrinating you. This is the how do I want to say this? So this is to bring you in and initiate you into their ritual. That's what they're doing. And that's how they do it, because you become a part of that ritual. That's what movies and everything and the like is for. You're actually being initiated at the same time. Let me see if I can find that YouTube video. I'll look for it. Didn't we share that one on my channel too?
I believe we did. Hey, didn't we get some strange feedback from a commenter named Top Bird? Remember, it was a black crow and then it turned into some woman's face. Do you remember that? Both of us were talking to her. She kept leaving a wacky comments. She had her thumbnail was a bird, because she just said something incredibly stupid in the chat. If you plan on doing something really bad to somebody else, do me a solid, leave it in somebody else's comment section, or don't leave it on social media at all. But if you don't have that kind of sense, please don't leave it in mine, or you end up in a timeout and then eventually booted.
I can't remember. Was that the art of deviling? Did we do that in the art of deviling?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because we were talking about law in that one, because that's why it's the art of deviling. I think that's it. Yeah.
It amazes me that people are commenting to Google, which is cool, saying, hey, Google, we don't need you in here moderating. And then people are making random threats to other entities in the comments. What could possibly go wrong? Unbelievable.
Yeah. It's definitely, it's got to be the art of deviling, and that's the only one, because the other one we started talking about the protocols.
Yeah, and I can't believe that's still up, dude. I can't believe that's still up.
Well, if you're tactful about it, right? And so this is something for all my friends out there who understand and recognize what Israel is. You have to be tactful. You can't go spewing hate towards the individual, but you can discuss the religion, right? So you have to stay on the religion aspect until that's shut down, and eventually it will. To make no mistake about it, eventually they're going to say, "Hey, we see right through that bull crap, and we got it." But
you do a private conversation that you and I had after we did our first live stream. I said, you got to be cautious. You don't want to say anything that they can put in a video and play it like, look at how hateful he is. You just got to be cautious, but you can't. If you're avoiding something, and me and you, we don't. If you're avoiding something and you feel like you're doing something wrong, then you're not telling the truth. So we say it, but
you have to stay out of the extremes.
You don't threaten people in the comment section. It's just a bad idea, seriously. Pick up arms and rush the government. Yeah, they're not watching right now. They're all home. At any rate.
Well, you just have to start understanding what discernment means, man. And at that point in time, you recognize what they shut us down over. And I'm gonna tell y'all something I noticed this week. Just commenters in my last YouTube video who even used the word Jew, I would get a notification that I had a reply, and they disappeared. I even had one commenter that emailed me the comment, posted it 5 times, and every time it wouldn't even go to spam. It would just disappear. So understand this, folks. If we are trying to talk, you cannot use these trigger words that are going to signify that the algorithm's just going to shoot you right out. So you have to be better. You have to rise above that. You have to be tactful in how you discuss these things. Just like Richie said, the school that shall not be named. Okay. Well, we shouldn't at this point know what that school is.
Yep. I agree. It's in a town called Newtown, like I said. You see what I mean? There's an alternate name, but I'm not going to be a dope. You can't even drive in that town. I've tried to make incursions in there 3 times, and they stop you. One time I got stopped by a bear. The video's still up. A literal bear. I was face to face with a black bear. So that was strange. At any rate. All right, let's take a look at this real quick. And I know everybody's probably already seen this, but let's look at it anywho, because I'm not really feeling this. And I can't find it, because that makes perfect sense. Do I have it? I do. All right, here we go. This happened today on the 26th. So last night, basically. But this is totally insane. How perfect this comes out.
Yeah.
And it's strange because some people have been telling me they think it looks like the sun's swallowing the moon. The moon's entering a portal. I don't know. But I know that on the 26th, this is happening. And on my side of the earth, they're literally spraying sigils in the sky. It's not like, hey, that kind of looks like this. I'll show you. They are straight up sigils, and then I'm going to show you the sigils. I've seen them do it a couple of times. It seems like, yeah, awake asleep might not be wrong.
No.
Might not be wrong. Sorry, but it is what it is. Anybody that can tell you about ancient fallen deities and they're on the trail and then start telling you Donald Trump's going to fix things, how much discernment can they possibly totally have? In LA, if you're listening, hit me up, man. My bad, but I've left it in the comments for you before too. Claire, this is the moon. This is a rare ring of fire eclipse happening. This is from, I believe, Singapore, happening earlier or whatever. But I mean, this has got to be a Stonehenge type moment where they're literally. How many times have I just said literally? Literally. This is too much. This is too perfect. This is like the beginning of iPad Goat. This is like an Ouroboros. This is so many things. You know, these guys are out doing things. I walk out in my driveway and I look up. Well, this just finished occurring. I'm going to show you what I was seeing. I already showed this to Brandon. And I got no juice in the tank today, man. That's strange. I'm usually pretty high strung like a monkey.
Solution, the hope is.
F is this? Yeah, get out of here. All right, let's try this. All right, stand by, Brandon. I'm having a meltdown. Here we go. All right, I know everybody's seeing these. But these were incredibly flagrant. And it's funny because the chemtrails were crossing over other chemtrails. Look at the frequencies in the skies all around. This was last night. This right here you're seeing, that was last night. The sky was totally red. There was the sunset appeared to be surrounded by smaller circle after larger circle after larger circle, and all the clouds on the periphery were being hit with frequencies. And that's what a normal sunset looks like now in the northeast. That's a 339 days out of the year, you're going to see that as the sunset, and that should be a problem. But the average person pulls over and takes. Look at the beautiful colors. It's like, yeah, brown, gray, wow. Beautiful. It's totally beautiful. And then this thing pops up. I've never seen this before. If you notice, these are enormous circles and small. They're all inside each other. I've never seen that before, Brandon.
No, I don't think I've seen that here either. And we've had some phenomenal days of spraying here. Like I said, I've got the square and compass. I've got a rim fan star I've seen. I've got the black DNA twist, but I have yet to see one like that. That's pretty gnarly and not
That
in a
was
good way.
Christmas Day. That was Christmas Day, 4:00 in the afternoon. That's 4:00 Eastern Standard Time, even though the days are supposed to be getting longer. Totally insane. Totally insane. And then that's more of it. I mean, it was just brutal. It looked horrible. But then this was a couple hours ago, and I showed you this. This looks just like branch chain DNA. Every place it crossed over, it looked like they were forming together and spreading out. It looks like a snake skin. But these guys aren't. Look, I mean, look at this. They're this is today as well. That's a sunset at 3:30 in the afternoon. Sun's almost down. There's shapes and sigils everywhere. Look at these guys. Airplanes don't go huge sweeping turns. They go point A, point B because they're in the air. These guys are following patterns, man. And watch these other two right next to him. These didn't look real. These two guys right here, they did not look real.
Right.
But they're going to cross right over each other. They're crossing over. They're making enormous. I mean, look at right here. I know it sounds crazy, but
no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
There was so much going on. I couldn't keep the camera still, but if I did, you would have seen what I was talking about. It looks an awful lot like this. I'll stand by. Let this play out because this is insane. So you combine all this stuff with the fact that the government suddenly decided to come out and say, yeah, we're going to start funding this stuff, which we already know they have been. But what blows me away is if you and I were just completely and totally insane and all the 1,700 people in the chat were just totally batshit crazy, and this was a real world and global warming was real and the government was really going to do anything, how could people possibly trust the same people that can't balance a budget in any way whatsoever at all? As a matter of fact, they just ignore it. Hey, we have the internet. Well, our government's going to give it away to another country. Oh, okay. Hey, let's go attack that country for 13 years and kill everyone because never mind. That was a lie. The government is so incompetent, which is how they get away with all this evil. You're going to allow them to block the sun using your tax money and you're good with that? Like block the sun?
Right.
It is, man.
And if it was just incompetence, right? And this is probably one of the best sayings, thought processes I've ever parlayed to those that aren't awake. If it was just gross incompetence, every now and then, the morons would actually do something in our favor. But it's not incompetence because they never do anything in our favor. It's never. I don't care. I'm sorry about that. Mom thought you were spamming there, handsome John. Thank you, brother. Sorry about that. We got you. But so really in this, essentially, like we were talking about earlier, it's always that onion, right? It's got so many layers to it. One, you keep the sun from people. You have people going literally insane from lack of vitamin D, which also weakens the immune system too. Of course, now we have the Ebola vaccine about to come out, so pay attention, folks. I'm glad I thought about that.
Speaking of that, dude, that's why I wanted you on that live stream. What about MIT? Once again, the same guys that came out with this story saying the government is going to start funding spraying the sky. What about MIT coming out with the story from Bill Gates where they're going to have the invisible ink that'll be in your skin where they'll be able to tell from a distance whether you've got your shots or not?
Yeah.
Dude, that's bad.
Yes.
That means something so terrible is coming. Everyone's going to have mandatory shots to the point where they're going to need to be able to check remotely if you got your shots. Dude,
that's right.
That's bad.
And so I would advise people to find out what the oxidation process is. There's the CDS, and then there's the food grade hydrogen peroxide, which oxidizes the body. And what that does is it takes aluminum and mercury and everything in your body, and it oxidizes it. It burns it. Okay, so this is where we're coming to. So they now have a packet sent out to all the people for pre-trial Ebola vaccinations. Well, listen, folks, let me tell you something. If people start getting Ebola vaccinations, that means they are shedding the live virus. That's what that means. And that means that This is crazy times ahead as we move forward. But yes, the Ebola vaccine stuff is really shocking to me.
This.
Wow.
Most people read this and gloss right over it and don't see it. This tells me that something so terrible is going to come out where they're going to try to do the mandatory vaccines. They're going to need this system I'm showing right now to prove if you've got one. And again, in a real world where the government was incompetent and the national debt was just, sorry about that. We just let that kind of spiral out of control. In a real world, if half of the people or less were vaccinated, you're all good. That's what vaccines are. These guys want 100% total saturation. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, and just so the invisible ink, right? That means the invisible ink is inside the vaccinations, and the kids that have the invisible ink will show up, and those who don't won't. So let's take this a step further. That means past thimerosal, past the adjuvants of a dog, of a cow, of a fetal baby, which is a DNA abomination, which is separating and destroying our DNA and how it's coded. Past all that, past the mercury, past the ethyl mercury and everything else. Now we're going to have invisible ink in there. That way they're digitally traced. And of course, folks, you always have to use your adult minds that we're coming into that panopticon stage, right? Where Big Brother will know everything you do and don't do. And this falls right in line. This goes back into the ascendancy of the scientific dictatorship, which Philip Collins talked about in his books. But what this is a pharmacological method of tracking and manipulating men and women as mere cattle, folks. And remember, it's always lowering you down on that totem pole. Domesticated, the mankind is not to be domesticated. We are not to be little cattle slaves. That's not our place.
I totally agree. I'm so glad I remembered to pull this up, because that's one of the main reasons I wanted you in here. That is what you would call a harbinger. That's a bad one. That's a bad one. That means it's ready. It's ready. And now they're starting the, no, we're not spraying the skies. Those people are idiots.
Yeah.
They drag it out. Next thing you know, they're like, hey, we should start spraying the skies. Wouldn't that be great? And then 10 years, not even 10 years. What was it? 2017, they came out. 2019, the government's going to start financing, and it has stepped up here exponentially. It's unbelievable how bad they're spraying, man. And it's not even the fact that they're blocking the sun. Everyone that's ever done any testing, and there's been a lot of people, including Mike Decker, anyone that's ever done testing on this, it always comes back heavy metals. Anything with an IUM, a human shouldn't be breathing. Right. I've got video. Remember the trees? Mike, remember the trees that were getting hit out west and they were burning from the inside out? Like you couldn't even tell the tree was burning down. I've got video here from the forest yesterday where trees are huge pine trees, green needles on top. They look alive. They've split straight down the trunks. And I'm talking massive trunks because the inside is gone. Yeah. Whatever this stuff is, it's eating the tree from the inside. I've got video. I'll pull it up and show it to you. It's crazy, dude. It's absolutely crazy.
That was the aluminum accelerant that when it ignited, it was an ignition. Yeah, that's
Here's the thing, too. I'm sure you've got the emails by now. Another YouTuber made a video, and he came to this conclusion that the stuff that they're spraying is the same thing that they make those fireworks sparklers out of.
Yeah.
We came up with that years ago. It's a little worse than that. The stuff they're spraying are basically all the base elements in thermite.
Right.
Aluminum, barium, strontium, sprinkle in a little iron like the ships do out at sea, because they're dumping iron into the sea to help global warming.
Right.
That's thermite. Sparklers can be fun. Thermite, well,
not so fun.
Conspiracy theory starts. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm a proud purveyor and wearer of my conspiracy hat. It has started to enlighten me to the point that I no longer believe the lies. But so I'll take that.
Me too.
I'll take that. So
I wear it. Choking on my own ridiculousness. That's a good one. Microwave heats inside out. Indeed. But it's amazing walking through the trees, walking through the forest. How many trees are dead? Just dead. It's sad. But long story short, not only are that we were talking about this before. Think about this. How's this for an analogy? I come up with one once in a great while. Humans, we can see with our eyes, our two eyes. These people are working with fallen entities. They're working with information that we don't have. And these things see like a housefly. They see things multifaceted. We've been saying this for years. So they're blocking the sun. They're depressing people. They're depriving them of vitamin C. They're screwing with the weather on an epic scale. They're sprinkling radioactive material for the most part on every living thing. How do you buy natural food? How do you get organic food when everything's been treated? The water, the fluoride, that was a conspiracy when I was a kid. Now it's no big deal. It's just an active ingredient. Nobody cares.
Well, and here again, when aluminum and fluoride mix, you have aluminum fluoride, which is even a worse cocktail than sodium fluoride. So, this stuff is meant to destroy our temple. And that would be a monster, Eliepshu.
I put that there for you.
Yeah, it's a monster. That's what a human is, and by law, by legal definition, a human being is a monster. And then, of course, you got the god Hu, the Egyptian god Hu, which is you would be a man of Hu. But we are mankind. We're not in a legal platform right here where we're so we can use words of common usage and people can understand, hopefully, that we're not in a court of law.
What else was I going to mention to you, right? I had another one for you. Oh, check this out. I got an email from somebody, Lisa AK1 or something to that effect. Sorry, Richie has a terrible memory. Richie's talking about himself in the third person right now too. But at any rate, terrible memory. That's a fact. Somebody sent me a bunch of links from scientific pages and stuff that said that nicotine helped block aluminum from going to your blood-brain barrier in your skull. Now, if Dana Ashley is watching right now, she just fell out of her chair and got out some sort of a meter because she can't believe that I'm advocating nicotine as a way to stop fluoride and aluminum from going to the blood-brain barrier. And recently, nicotine's been under attack, which I find really strange.
Well, again, that's probably not my area of expertise, but someone like Dana could definitely go into that. And I'm going to tell y'all, if you don't know, folks, stay away from all the polysorbates. And, of course, stay away from keeping the phone. I use just to show people, I use a wired headset for my phone for a reason. And that's because the frequencies open up the blood-brain barrier, oxidizing your bloodstream. I would like to know that too, Richie. So we'll
get on that. Get on. I know you're going to get on that automatically. But Rusty Shackelford said well water. A lot of us don't have any access to that whatsoever at all. But here's a couple things. When you're on the cell phone, don't ever hold it to your head. Ever. You know what I mean? Put it on speaker or just don't answer it. That's what I do. Just ignore them. It's easier.
Yeah, I keep it away from my head at all times. And
if you can go wired like we were talking about instead of Wi-Fi, you're leaps and bounds. Wi-Fi, artists have done drawings of it. If this room was full of Wi-Fi signal, if you could physically see it, it fills the room. Well, it affects us even though we can't see it, just like the wind. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's well, and I've also want to put a snippet out there for distilled water too. Distilled water, because it's electronically charged, has a way of filtering out bad stuff out of your system. So that's just something. If you know for a fact you either have a water distiller or if you don't have a big Berkey or things of that nature. Yes, I know that it doesn't have all the added minerals that everything else has, but it's clean water.
Right.
It's distilled and it's electrically charged. And because it's been charged, it actually helps filter out particulates and bad stuff out of your body. So distilled water is the way to go on the other side of that.
Here's the deal. I hear you. I don't know if you realize that he's been on with me several times. Here's the deal. Don't lean on everybody else. Like he'll tell you the answer. A lot of people talk about a lot of things. If there's a topic that affects your life or you want to know for sure, research it. And I'm not saying, hey, what's her name? Hey, Alexa, what's the answer to nicotine or whatever. You don't like look it up for real, because Google searches, DuckDuckGo, everything is becoming compromised. It's just a fact. So if you want to find out, look for yourself for real. Research everything. It's why we leave so many links in the description. So
Well, yeah, and look, not any one man can know everything.
at all.
Remember, each one is gifted according to their gift. So every that's what makes us the body of. Not Brandon's the head or anything, or anybody, one man or woman's the head. We're the body of, and together when we work collectively. I've had many subscribers send me stuff, and there's been a couple studies that I've done off of stuff subscribers have sent me and got me going down the. And you know this too, Richie. A lot of good stuff comes from our subscribers,
without a doubt. Without a doubt, they'll fill. Somebody will send me the answer, or you will.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 4 things. I've got, let's bring this up. Let's bring this up and chat on this for a second, because this freaks me out, dude. And most normal folks aren't going to see this. This isn't something that's going to end up in their news feed. But suddenly researchers have identified 100 stars have disappeared from the sky. 100 stars have disappeared. Now, what are stars? They're luminaries.
Yes,
Why are they bringing this story up now? Why is this in Science Alert magazine? Most people aren't going to talk about this at all. So we just had a ring of fire. We've got chemical sigils being written in the sky. And according to science, 100 stars have mysteriously disappeared in the night sky. Well, where did they go? Isn't there a verse about that someplace?
Well, yeah, but on this particular one, if I'm looking right, who's that? The space deals. I'm going to put this more as just now if it's real, but I'm gonna play the part of level-headedness. This is probably going to be aimed at those that believe outer space is real, is what I'm going to think. And then if they did disappear, we're talking about the luminaries falling back to heaven, back to earth. I'm sorry, reverse there. But I'm going to say that those 2 pictures up above are pretty doggone grainy, and that's the kind of stuff that where the people can't use their own mind believe that what they're looking at there is disappearing planets and
stars.
Yeah.
This came out on the 21st of December, 2019, and the numerology and it's pretty decent. 2,900. So you got missing objects. You got 9/11 right there. 600 million objects. 21, 23, 22, and then you have 2, 3, 6, 6, 7. It's just loaded with, 6, 6, 6, 18. Every single number breaks down to something. I can't think of the word. Whatever. How about that?
Yeah, well, and that's how you have to look at these. Take it with a grain of salt, right? Look at them from both perspectives. They love playing off the fear. I really akin them to energy vampires, which they really are, because just by taxing our labor is a tax on our energy, because that's what we give. You give energy to make something, and they hold a monopoly on all the world's energy. To understand that, that's everything that provides life. They hold a monopoly over.
Don't use your real name online. That's so cute.
They already know who you are,
dude. That whole thing's been out of the bag for so long, well before we figured it out, and now it's a wrap.
Yeah, I want to counter that, right? For every single man and woman out there wanting to hide behind their little avatar, that means you're a coward and you don't want to step up to the plate and stand up for the truth. And you think that this system's not going to come get you. You're fairly mistaken. That's why I put my face out here, is to not be that and show people that we can stand up in the truth and stand up in love and fight this system.
Brandon just pulled a Richie. Imagine that. Throwing down the gauntlet, pulling someone's card. There are way too many people that so many people will just stand behind them no matter what, and they have no clue who these people are. You're not hiding from anybody. If your channel's monetized, if you use PayPal in any way, they know who you are. They know who I am. How many times have I showed my license plate or said my entire name or showed my driver's license, my honorable discharge, et cetera, et cetera. It is what it is. It's too late. It's too late. It's too late.
Well, you have to have a backbone, man. If there's not a face to the information, then to me it's a fiction, because only a living man or woman can bring forth living information. That's why I never once got sucked into the Q movement, because the Q is a fiction of law. It's a fiction of our imagination. No man or woman can stand up and be Q. And as long as that was the way it was, for me, it never held any validity, because no man was attached to those words. And so for me, it means nothing. And we've got a lot more things to be worried about. Don't worry. In the Utah Data Retention Center, there's a big old file with your picture, and that your TV's taken, that your phone's taken, with every piece of data next to it. So if you're worried about some random people on the internet having access to you, well, I'm going to have to say you just don't have a backbone or the testicular fortitude to be in this fight.
There you go. There you go. Here's the thing. I brought this story out. I'm not saying it like I brought this story out. I'm not that kind of a douchebag. I'm just a regular douchebag. At any rate, 2008. This is 2020 in like 3 days or 4 days. 2008. Samsung said, "Hey, if you're going to have sex in front of your television, try not to, because it has a bad habit of videoing and recording it." And people, instead of people, I thought people would lose their entire minds. Yeah. To this day, #1 selling TV device in the world. They told you back then. That was what?
Well, just 2 years ago, Siri said, Apple come out and said, well, Siri initiates upon sexual sounds. They don't care, man. You know, listen, for me, my phone at night is 2 rooms away in the kitchen, and that's where it stays at night. It doesn't come anywhere next to me while I sleep.
I hope that's true, Michelle, because a lot of people say that. I can't believe I'm being blocked. And it's like, I can't believe I'm reading your comment. You know what I mean? Let's all just breathe in and breathe out. It's all good. No one's blocked for the most part, unless you're an asshole.
Well, yeah. Well, hey, I want to make note too, Richie. You really didn't feel like doing the interview, but something happened along the way. You got a little happy, bro.
I come across. I'll tell you what, man. Seeing demonic sigils right over my house every single day, it starts to bother you.
It bothers you. It bothers you. As a living man or woman, when you look up and you see this stuff, that's why I take pictures of the sky all the time. Why people like Mike Decker's out there looking at it, because we inherently know this is wrong, right? We know it's wrong. We know it's that the masses around us who don't care, we care enough about to care for them, and we know this isn't right, and it is deeply troubling to watch it transpire, and not only transpire but speed up. And the
thing is they can see me. You can't miss me videotaping this, and they're looking at the looks on their face like he's such a conspiracy theorist. He thinks that plane that's spraying that stuff is spraying some stuff, and it's like, well, you can't really miss it. It's actually impossible to miss. It's right. Impossible. And I'm doing this to try to wake up these same people that are talking shit. It's just, I don't know. Sometimes it gets to you. You know what I mean?
Well, and I want to say this, that one of the last chat that just went by, that Jersey Bob, great quote, because the way the magic only works is by bypassing your conscious mind, getting into your subconscious. It is the that is the magic trick. That is how it works. It is the planning of the idea, and also it cannot work on someone blocking it with their conscious mind. So Jersey Bob, great quote, great reply, because that is the truth. That is why they don't want us wise as serpents, folks. Right. That's why they don't want us understanding the tricks and the way the deception works, because as long as you aren't aware, you are deceived.
Hey, Robert, I've never seen you in the chat before, but what you're saying, it's so wrong. We are dying. I got to think. I mean, dude, I hold on to this for dear life. It's the only way I sleep at night. I got to think this was all going to happen whether we were here or not, but I think we're supposed to be here we're supposed to be going through this, and I'm fairly certain that there was going to be a great delusion, which I think is going to get worse, but I can't help but see it happening because I'm walking around. 9 out of 10 people don't see anything wrong with anything. They think politics can change things. They think material gain is going to help them. They think things are going to get better. While I'm walking through the forest watching, I don't know, 6 out of 10 trees dead. There's no more birds. There's no more things rustling around, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to be here, and remember, we're dying. These bodies are dying. We're energy. The only thing, as much as science that I held on to my entire life, as much of it as I have let go because it's just sheer nonsense, thermodynamics, we're energy. We can't die, and we know we can't die. This body will fall away, but we won't. You know what I'm saying? We're doing what we're supposed to be doing, even if it's not popular. I'm not the most popular person I've ever met in my family, around other people, etc. But I'm never going to stop doing this. They're going to stop me from doing this. I've pretty much made peace with that, but I'm not going back in a box. I'll tell you that.
Well, no, in the number one thing they can't have of mine, man. They can lock this flesh up. They can do whatever they want. The one thing I will not ever give these bastards again, and I say that as wholeheartedly as possible. They cannot have my mind. Inside this space. It's not theirs. Rich, can you give me a yell at?
No, read it. I read it. That's what I saw the first time. Then read it again. Can you yell at me for giving you a super chat? I suppose. I have no clue where that goes. I do not recommend people do that. I don't understand. It's like, I don't know, man. If I see you or you say something that's worthwhile, I'll call you out. No worries, man. But there's 2,091 people in the chat. That's kind of hard to do.
Hey, guys, don't forget to do the thumbs up, too. We've already in here come 4 trolls on my side, so don't forget to do that. I don't know if it works on my channel or not. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Since
what doesn't?
The likes are how they used to use the algorithm.
You're on the hit list. You're done. You did it early. It took me till I was in the 200. No, that's not accurate. I was in 100,000, and they refused to give me the YouTube placard.
Yeah.
Oh no. I'm like, really? 200,000? No. 300,000? No, I'm like, dude, I'm in perfect standing. Well, your channel's been taken down numerous times. I'm like, well, I can't help what you do to me. Like every time they're supposed to do something everyone else enjoys, I get in trouble for something. Story of my life. It's all good. But yeah, you're on the hit list, dude. You're on the hit list. So what website is that? The Sparrow Canary. What's the name of that website?
Canary Mission.
Canary Mission. You're a hate monger. You're a cult leader, right?
Well, no, I'm a supreme Jewish ideological hater, and of course, I'm a convicted criminal and everything else. And
hey, who ain't? Listen to this. Let me tell you what, right? If you really believe in the Heavenly Father and Yeshua, Jesus Christ, whatever you want to call him, but I'm trying to call him by the correct name as I can see it. But I digress. I'm not going to come on here and listen to some dude give me advice on how to survive or advice on how to make it through this life that's done everything you're supposed to do. I went to school and I did all my homework and I went to college and I studied, and I memorized, and I go to work and I pay my you know what? I've been married. I've been in the military. I've been in prison. I've been in jail. I have been shot, stabbed, hit with bats, hit people with bats. I've seen the good, the bad. I've been up and down and over and out. I've lived as much of this life as I possibly can. And then I figured out that what I was doing was making my life a lot worse than it had to be. So I stopped. Those are the kind of people that you want to listen to. I don't want to listen to somebody that does exactly what they're told, because that's dumb.
Yeah. Well, I didn't come for the righteous. I came from the downtrodden, the meek of heart. And the only way that you become that is the only way a man can relate to someone else in a certain position is he's been there before. You know, the gentleman that wrote me the reply today talking about he's going to rehab or he needs to quit drinking. Well, I know I can empathize with that man because I've been there where I wanted to escape reality. How can you get that from somebody sitting high on top of their little pretty perch up there, and they're self-righteous, and really they're hypocrites, because they're just, of course, this is the watered down version of our leaders anyway. While he's sitting there telling you how you need to change, he's probably going to drink a fifth of Jack Daniel at night. But yeah, it's really the downtrodden and the meek that become true followers of the way.
You got to be through the worst parts of this. People that have never actually created with their own hands, people that call somebody to take care of every problem, things like that. Those are the perfect New World Order citizens, and it saddens me because I have a lot of them very close to me. Brandon, if I say this wrong or if you disagree, say it.
Okay.
I'm going to answer this. Rusty, I don't believe in religion, dude. Religion's just a control tool completely. But I have been outside. I've been every place on this earth that I can get to, and I can see the fingerprints of God, the Creator, the Heavenly Father, absolutely everywhere. I'm too smart to know that this all just happened on its own. One time there was nothing, it exploded, turned into everything, and then everything turned into frog monkey pigs or whatever they're called.
Okay, so let me give just a little expounding on that.
What was it? Monkey frog? What was the word? You said it. Monkey
fish frog.
Monkey fish frog.
Monkey fish frog. I'm not a monkey fish frog, and that's a fact, Jack. I haven't said that one in a while. I was saying it too much. But let's read James 1:27 together. Pure religion and we had this big breakthrough last week. Well, I did. I don't know if anybody noticed during the study last week. I finally broke through another barrier of truth, which is what the church and state really is. Okay. The church and the state is us. The church is the house of the temple, and the state is your state of mind, your consciousness. So they tell you we're going to separate church and state, and they do. They build the straw man for you to act in place. So now they've separated church and state and adjoined their church and state back together. So let's understand that concept first.
Brandon, can you say that last part a little slower? They joined.
It's called adjoining. So they say they want church and state, but they're double speakers. They want to separate church and state, but they don't. They want to separate your church and state. You, the living man inside the spirit inside the man, from your church and state, which is your church and state is your church is your temple, your body. And your state is your state of mind. That's who you are. It's what makes you. It's the ghost within the machine. It's the state of being. It's the consciousness. It's your constitution. What makes you who you are. They say they want to separate that. Well, they do. They separate us from our church and state and put us back in their made up church and state, which is the straw man, back into the Capitol, which is the architect of the Capitol, right? Back in the temple of Jupiter, which the edifice of that building is called a church. And that's because they're reconstituting their creation, right? Remember, we're creatures of statute, the statutory, right? We're creatures of statute, which are creations of the state. And as such, the creator has rule over that creation. And of course, we don't know any better, so we act. So let me get back to that point. As they trying to separate us from the church and state, pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this: to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world. That unspotted is unblemished. The world is the kingdoms of men. So recognize that. Separate yourself. Holy, holy, holy. Separate, separate, separate. Not a part of the traditions and commandments of men. Is just one of those things I want to add in there for people with context. Recognize that what the powers that be do is infiltrate, subvert all religion, pervert it from the inside out, and really it's always leading you back to the systems and control of men and the secular deity known as the state. That's why they call the state, the union. It's called the union of the states, right? It's the union of your state of mind into the e pluribus unum, which is the out of many one.
I was listening, but I'm also looking at a little drama. Hey, Mods, jump on that, please.
I'm going to explain it. I'm going to
comment. This person right here, I'm not sure what your reference is. They remove your rib, turn you into an Eve /church for their light. I don't know what that means, but if you're doubting the story of the rib, you may want to look up the one bone in the body that can be removed and regrown, and it is the rib. Did you know about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. It's crazy, and that's one piece of science you will not see. You'll hear about the 100 stars that disappeared that are probably out in your backyard right now, according to science, but you won't hear about things like that, or you won't hear about things like the Shroud of Turin, which there is no way to impose a silhouette of a person that accurately unless you could somehow harness the power of the quote unquote sun and blow it through there. You know what I mean? There's a lot of proofs. The pillar of salt is still standing there. The rock that Moses cracked in half, there's a military and a barbed wire fence. The ark is still sitting up there, but they just won't tell us about it. People try to sneak it out. You know what I'm saying? The stuff's real. I've been looking at this for a long time.
And then you have the spark of light at the when the fertilization happened, not consummation, but the fertilization when the father plants the seed, the spark of light that happens. They don't want you to know all these things, and of course the masses don't want to know all these things because it would screw up their paradigms that we come from a monkey, fish, frog, and all that stuff, all that garbage that permeates down. Of course, that starts messing up the Big Bang, the Darwin, and all the other stuff in space.
It's all just ludicrous anyways, dude. And the thing that gets me is the people that are the most ignorant and arrogant when you try to show them, hey, check out this paperwork right here. Here's the actual PDF file showing from the early 90s they wanted to control the weather by 2025. Well, here it is. Oh, that's ridiculous. But on the other hand, the Big Bang. Well, once upon a time, because that's how it should start, there was nothing and nothing exploded. That doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So everything decided to, I used to be mud, but I'm going to be a giraffe. I'm going to be Richie from Boston. I'm going to be Brandon. You know what I mean? I'm going to be platypus. And I think a platypus, speaking of that, is a great example of fallen angels messing with things because it's the only mammal that actually has venom in its rear leg. That's crazy.
Yeah.
A built beaver that's poisonous as hell. You know what I mean?
So I want to read one more on religion because I read James. I read James 1:27 first, but I want to read James 1:26 now to impose that point. Right? I explain what church and state is. If any man among you seem to be religious and bridleth not his tongue, remember, by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. The power of words, the power of speech. Okay, but deceiveth his own heart. It means you're fake. It means you just don't really mean it. You say it, honoreth with me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. This man's religion is in vain, and in vain that is the force of men, empty, worthless, void, and empty, and take not the Father's name in vain, right? That's to make it empty. That's to give it no power, original jurisdiction, the creator of heavens and earth. Everything like this, folks. So understand this. That remember all these words that what we think they, as they bastardize these terms, right, and they continue to bastardize them, and that's what they do because to manipulate a society, and you manipulate the words. Well, you manipulate the people that have to use those words, and that's of course why newspeak, what they call hate speech, is now coming out. Right? It's thought control. But I just wanted to put that in there. There's thoughts in there.
That's good stuff, Brandon. What is your take on this right here?
I did find one in my town that I went and did. It was for me, right? It was, and I went for one day, go to another town to get it done. It was for me. I know the Father says do it, but look, man, if somebody's charging you money for that, that's a shame. That just goes to show you just how far we are down the rabbit hole. I found one church here that would do me, and I went and got it done. And I walked right out the church after it was done because that's all I wanted. That's all I needed. I just needed to do that, right? And so yeah, I know there's. I don't want to ask you where you live personally, but I found one myself. I think if you look a little bit outside your town. I don't think you can sell the gift of the Holy Spirit, man. That's really what got Simon the sorcerer Simon, he wanted to buy the Holy Spirit, right? I just don't understand this time and age that we live in, where pastors think it's only about money, and they serve the god of mammon, man. That's sad, and I hate that you live in a town like that. Ladies, try to look out. I don't have any affiliation with any church group, so I just found one locally that was doing it one weekend and walked in and walked out and did it.
Check this out. I want to address what Deanna's saying, because I've just highlighted like 15 comments from Ron Wyatt, because Ron Wyatt had some of the most amazing footage I've ever seen on YouTube that nobody cared about, that you couldn't find and you can't really find now. But on the baptismal thing, I was driving my Jeep, so this was about 5 years ago, and I just wandered the United States aimlessly. I had to get baptized. I found myself down in the Everglades in a little white church about the size of a house, and I was surrounded by what I would have considered, and what I probably did call at the time, hillbillies. These were country folk from the glades. This chick took my hand in the circle and started crying and told me I was a messenger for whatever that meant, and they baptized me, and that was it. There was no money exchanged. So,
Right.
All right, Deanna was on board with Ron. Well, you know what? If you're that close to Ron Wyatt, if everything that he's pulled up is true and he doesn't strike me as a liar, and the stuff that he said, if you look up any of it, me and you can't get there. We can't get there with a camera. You can't get near any of these things. They're surrounded by barbed wire and militaries. If he saw spirits, maybe he did. I don't know. What do you think of that?
Well, I'm just going to say this at all times, man. We say this every week, right? Eat the meat, spit out the bones. Not every. I mean, listen, people are looking for, men or women go searching for people that are perfect, man. We're imperfect beings. You never know when Ron was started having the pressure put on him and everything else. You never know. I've watched all of Ron's stuff.
Me too.
And again, like all the things that I take in, at a certain point in time, you just have to take them on how they're presented, and the archaeological finds of where Saudi Arabia, Mount Sinai, and all that stuff, and the chariot wheels, and go, okay, well, I don't have any issues with that. I don't have any issues with somebody saying they can see spirits. I cannot, so I can't comment on that. But I get ringing in my ears all the time from frequency that nobody hears, and that bothers me, and it doesn't bother everybody around me. So,
that's the thing. When I referred to the frequencies earlier, I said there are things up there that are messing with, and the Wi-Fi. The room's full of Wi-Fi. Right. We can't see it like the wind, just like the frequencies. If you were that close to the mercy seat, if you're going to see anything anytime, I would like to think it would be then, because I have seen demonic things show up. It's always just the shadows, but there's no two ways about it. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's
and remember, folks, everybody's got their own. You're posting. I mean, I don't understand what's wrong with some of you guys.
Stop blocking me. Okay, I will. Let me just take your comment down real quick. All right, how about this one?
Hey, look, this is look. I personally
question.
This is symbolic of the death of the old man and the rebirth of the new man. It's part of the process, right? But I'm going to tell you, if you can't find anybody that's going to do that, I don't think that's going to stop you. Like this lady saying somebody wants to purchase her. You're supposed to be just like Yahushua sought out John, right? He sought out a righteous man to do it. Well, like you're going to be few and far between of righteous people that do it. But for me, it was something I had to get off me. I felt like I needed to do it. And as soon as I did it, my spirits were lifted. I felt like I had finally made that decision, that this was my path. You know, it wasn't any more kicking it around maybe or anything else like that. It was on for me. So I would advise people. I'm not going to tell people what to do. My advice is, if you can do it and you can find somebody that's not a charlatan, get it done. It's for it really is a symbolic for you.
I'm not laughing at you. Real quick, Sacred Shaman, he says, I see dark shadows out of the corner of my eyes. I don't know if it's got anything to do with getting older, but before I started getting targeted several years ago, I didn't need glasses, right off the bat. That's one thing that I can remember clearly. I didn't need glasses. I had the ringing in the ears anyway. After I really, in my desperate hour, because it's amazing when you're in trouble, how hard and how often you'll pray. I prayed, and God gave me enough of the full armor of God to protect me from these electronic targetings or whatever they were. But I will tell you this, no matter what, out of the corner of my eyes, like I have drapes right there. If I'm looking right now, it looks just like the drapes are moving, and they're not. So that freaks me out. I don't know if that's because I'm older. I don't know if that's something effing with me, but I have seen dark shadows numerous times. And then, hey, Brandon, Top Bird's back. And look at that. She has another comment that might make people think. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
You see that, Top Bird? Formerly, when I first put your comment up a couple of days ago, you had a black crow right there. Now you have what appears to be an angry lady with purple glasses, and you're putting comments out there. Alex Jones. You mean the guy that I've been making videos about for, I don't know, 6 years? The ones that got my channel copyright struck and then got me taken down because I pointed out the fact that when he was in Bohemian Grove, people were calling him by his name, even though he bum rushed it and got in there secretly. I'm going to say you can go. How's that? Go spread your anger elsewhere. What do you think? Yeah.
I think so. Well, until we start screaming about atrazine and turning the freaking frogs gay, I don't know. And as long as you're not pushing Trump.
Alex, listen, Alex isn't a shill. Well, yeah, actually, he's the very epitome of a shill. But he didn't. Alex has Central Intelligence in his family, just like Jake Morphonius. That's a fact. I didn't come up. It's not my fault. I'm just telling you what I happen to know. He was put in place. He made trucks full of money. He never got hurt. Nothing bad ever happened to him.
He did his job.
His job was to come in here, and as people started waking up, intercept him. And
that's
here you go. You know,
and make the truth crazy, right? Make the truth crazy. Make
turn the frogs gay. It's the global.
Yeah, that's right. Make it crazy. Yeah, right. That's what he wanted to do. And he was installed just for Trump's election too.
Are you kidding me? Crazy big cookie jar head looking wacko dude freaking out all the time helps get a president elected, and everyone thinks that's cool. That's all good. Suddenly suddenly politics is real. A lot of big channels flipped the script that very, very day.
Yep, they did. I thought I was in I don't know. It was like being in the inverted reality when I watched everybody go back into the left. It's like they said, "Hey, we're going back in here to this left-right divide. Come on, guys, we've got it now."
Yep, we got it now. Donald Trump's going to put Hillary in jail right away. Yeah. The first instant he was president. I want to thank Bill and Hillary for being here. They've done a lot of great things for the country. It just went right out the window, and people are still holding on. And then they were like, "Hey, we're losing our grip on Trump. Quick, let's put, Q. We've got this quantum computer called Q. Let's pretend it's secretly, son of a bitch. Who did people used to like? Oh, Q is probably John F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah, who's time traveling. Yeah. Well,
we're going to have martial law, but just be cool with it.
Q is 13.
Look how red my face looks. It wasn't from the wind. It's from the stupid light. I got to get a new light.
Q is through the Klepoth, right? The Q is the Kabbalistic goetic magic, right? That's the Q is it's the 1 and the 7 together, which is what the Hebrew letter looks like, Q, and it's 8, right? And of course, that's the jester, that's the joker, that's the actual tarot card for it is a jester and a joker. It's amazing, man, how easily men and women are fooled. And I was on Twitter today, and I saw that the Q people still going strong with 60,000 sock puppet accounts following these people.
Oh, no doubt. I just tried to pull up the Kabbalah, and it's an Amazon link. So I had Freeman Fly years ago, and he was talking about this years and years ago. He just has a much different view on things than I do, which is cool. But he brought that stuff up a long, long time ago. The Klepoth, all that crap.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I would love to know, just out of curiosity, how many of them are monitoring us, the people in the comments right now, and making adjustments and blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Things go along. So
Well, yeah. That now we're in the era of real time data manipulation, right? And it's what Trump ran his campaign on, right? What's that Palantir program?
I know they say that, but dude, I can't help but think that they just pick them. They just
Well, yeah, well, that too. But what they did was they're using that real time data manipulation to say what the people need to hear. That's all they're doing. They're just saying about taking all the data in. That's why Trump comes out there and he talks about let's lock Hillary up. They know they're not locking Hillary up. That's that WWE theater, right? And get maximum effect and maximum emotion out of people. That way you get this division, this finite division where this hatred goes on both sides, like the left and the right. I don't even know how if liberals were having their holy days this year, how any liberals or conservatives mixed together with such hate. You know, they really have them at a point in time now where they're so polarized that anything can kick off because everything's emotionally based, right? Everything's about emotions because everybody's emotionally tied to these politicians through identity politics.
I don't know about this. Kent Hovind is shady. I just think Kent Hovind knew a lot. He's an older dude, man. The guy got locked, at his age to go to the can, dude, that's no joke. That's hard to do. He did it. And the first thing someone stuck a mic in his face, the earth's flat. He's an old dude. He's just not going to go for it. You know what I mean? He put a lot of good information out, I thought. I listened to a lot of Kent Hovind over the years, but,
I have never listened to him much that I know of. But that again, the flat Earth when you're 70-something years old and you're forced to change your paradigm, it's hard.
He's just not doing that. You know what I mean? He came up with a lot of really good information years ago, basically debunking everything they were talking about. And they threw him.
He did good when he focused on the education, right? When he focused on the education and how I'm going to focus on it this weekend with why the education is the first line of defense for us to take back the minds of our youth. If you want to fix a problem, quit sending your children to the public education indoctrination centers. That they count on us to send our children there. That way they get the dummied down version of life. But yeah, when he did all that, I did watch a couple of those. Those were pretty good.
He did a lot. He did a lot of good research. You got to take what you can and leave the rest. He just basically proved everything they were teaching us was lies. I've been following Emily Suzanne for years. She did put up a killer one of the Sun the other day. Somebody else just said, now, I don't know if this is referring, I think a bunch of people are referring to JFK Jr. as though he's not, I'm pretty sure he's dead. I'm fairly certain because they weren't going to risk him coming back around. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't think is an alter ego.
Remember when you say, for instance, if it's a hoax death, they exit stage right to Mason Island or wherever their little they're removed. The whole point was to get maximum issue from the populace. Because the Kennedys, make no mistake about this, whether John F. Kennedy flipped or not, or whatever happened to the president who was the president of the United States, he was a bloodline family. Make no mistake about that. Whatever happened there, the Kennedys are a bloodline. Make no mistake about it. Whatever happens, if they do exit stage right or left, that doesn't matter. It's maximum from the point that it happens. It is to get the most out of people. You're not going to come back as some time traveling patriot, work through a Twitter as a queue, and you're gonna take back over. Hey, what are you taking back over? You going to stop the UCC or UNIDROIT treaty or the United Nations Charter? What are they doing? They're just on the conservative side following Trump. I mean, people don't even use their God-given common sense to see what he's taking over.
Okay, now do you see why your comment's been up there that long? I've interviewed a lot of people over the years. If I don't interrupt, I won't get a word in edgewise. Is that okay, Ready and Awake? Is that okay? Seeing how it's my channel? At any rate.
Well,
and I always say I apologize, and I remind him what his topic was. But thanks for chiming in.
Hey, guys. Hey, and I want to say this. Listen, guys. I want to bring up something too, because people brought up on my video the other day, right? That I'm different here than on the presentations, guys. Again, I'm going to say this again. This is for everybody out there. Understand, when we come in here, this is our fellowship. This is our time to actually get some of this out, and that's for you in the chat, and it's for me and Richie too. But there's a different style. When I'm on presentation, I'm about my Father's business and my Father's business only. I enjoy coming in here and joking around, laughing, and talking about the top topics with Richie. So this isn't Brandon's show. Richie invites me on to his show.
Oh, you're done?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm good.
It's called sarcasm, people. People like, be friendly. It's called sarcasm. You ever been to the Northeast? We rely on sarcasm rather heavily. So, and yes, this is when Brandon's on his show, it's perfect because he's actually doing a PowerPoint presentation. This ain't that. This is where we will be talking about chemtrails, and then we'll go over to Jason Greenblatt, and then we'll ask why someone should be getting baptized or not for money. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what this is. Totally different. It's actually, and this is no offense to anybody, but 10 people are going to get offended. So many people, that's the problem. If Brandon isn't how Brandon is all the time, well, then what's wrong with Brandon? We can't listen. It's the other side. It's not a PowerPoint presentation. You know what I'm saying? He's got a lot of information that he's clearly put together all week, because when you do your teachings, you're just bam, 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 bam. You know what I mean? Nobody should interrupt you because you're on it. This is a whole different format.
Oh, yeah.
I think it goes pretty damn good because we go a long time, man.
Yeah, we've got a good flow, and the flow is to involve everyone here. I see a lot of good and I just want to talk about the guys in I'm reading y'all's comments. I'm not commenting, but I'm doing a little bit better by staying in. I'm starting to get better, staying in the flow and just watching how y'all get along. Hey man, this is what this is about. This is about fellowship. This is about brothers and sisters coming together. And you know,
how about that? How about a dude from the? I mean, how much worse from the city could I be, and a dude from the bayou? We roll the way we do. That's insane, dude. Right? I mean, that's insane. It's like I've known Brandon my whole life, man. It's a trip, and it was just strange how I found you, man.
Yeah, that was our friend Razor Queen that did that. That's a longtime follower on Twitter, and I hope she's in here tonight. Razor, if you're here, know that I love you. I thank you for doing that. She told me she was going to go send that to you, and she sure did.
Yeah, Mike Decker, he's another one, a brother from another mother. There's a lot of people, a lot of people. So, there was a question that I highlighted and then I forgot. As long as you don't flirt with Brandon, I don't flirt with dude. Are you people? Do you guys need to get a new radar? You realize I stayed in this woman's house for 3 days and nothing, crickets. Okay, just understand that. Richie's never had an issue with women ever, but I'll digress on that one. A little bit. I gave him up. Imagine that was the worst drug I ever gave up ever. I'm not trying to have kids. I'm not trying to get married, and God's watching, so I can't do that. And I really live like that. I make up for it with ice cream. Ice cream's delicious. Am I lying? I love ice cream.
Yeah, you do. You do.
All right. I'm trying to find. There was one good question in here. Are you seeing anything in here, brother? If you want one, tell me to stop on it.
No, let me see. I'll pay attention.
There was a good one.
Y'all got any questions y'all want to discuss? Throw them in the chat. I'm looking.
Right. Can you stop the chat on your side?
Well, it doesn't move nearly as fast as what you do. Yours does.
No. Can you highlight a comment on your side?
Let me see. I don't think so.
Hold on, let me pull this one down. Stand by. See if you can highlight a comment on your side. Go right in the middle and hit the plus.
There's no plus on me.
Well, that's lame.
Yeah, there's no plus on me.
Because I was able to change your description. There's got to be a way to do it. Well, maybe someone.
Well, you roll on your side. You roll some of my comments that are on my screen through your side. It's weird.
I can see that. But I tried to separate them so there was just.
Have I caught a gator? Is that what you asked? Yes, I've caught gators before, and gators are awesome.
Gators are awesome.
Yeah, it's gotten a lot rougher. We've got a camp down below Bayou Black, which is below Homa. It still runs on generator. We do all kind of Rambo stuff. Go back there, don't take bass for 4 or 5 days, fishing and hunting. So that's
I haven't got that.
Bill Cooper.
I haven't got the spider webs tested yet because it's not free, and I'm working on it. And I'm afraid that if I mail them to somebody, I'll never get them back.
V Mays is asking about
RH blood, then Bill.
Yep. Somebody else in my chat just said something about it too. So let me comment on that. Well, I hate to break it to everybody's attention here. I'm married to a RH blood negative. I am. Yeah.
She's a giant.
And one of my sons are RH negative.
Randy, that's scary.
So, and I hope I've been married to my wife for 24 years now. And well, I hate to tell y'all, she's about 95 pounds and about 5'2", and she's not a Nephilim.
Has any of your family members fallen for the 23andMe nonsense as of yet?
No.
Well, we can find out who you were. You were related to a king, just like that carbon dating. It's spot on accurate. Go ahead.
And what I want to say is, listen, folks, there are lineages of the blood types that do matter. And I know, I used to joke with my wife all the time. I used to say, hey, I'm married to a Nephilim. That's why you got all this attitude, right? It'd make her even madder, right? But the truth is, there is something to the bloodlines. My personal opinion, Dana talked about it the other day, is that once they have the frequency of your blood, once they have that, everybody's heart and mind, we have our own frequency. Understand this, folks. So do your blood has its own frequency. Once they take that and they have it, well, they can tune this weaponry to that specific frequency, kind of like Royal Raymond's Rife's machine. He tunes it to the frequency of the cancer to kill the cancer. You get where I'm talking about now, where I'm going with this blood stuff. And then, of course, I am pretty sure that their bloodlines, unless bastardized lines, that's not what they're looking for. It's something probably a little bit deeper than that, than just RH negatives.
Hey, San DRO, don't you feel like a dick now? Believe it or not, I can't answer 5 questions at once, so I take them one at a time. And then look at that. There you are, being rude, ignoring my comment about trying to pray. Well, first of all, we've already prayed. We might pray again, but we weren't ignoring you. There's just 2,152 other people in here, not 1,500. But thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of people with RH negative. I don't know why they want the DNA so bad. I don't know why they're telling people not to get DNA tests, but it's ramping up. So that's all I do know.
All right. So I've got somebody asking me about Bill Cooper.
Yeah.
All right, so again, this is another bones, eat the meat and spit out the bones. There was a great growth with Bill Cooper until the day that he was killed. Bill Cooper also didn't have the internet. And at that point in time, Bill Cooper had been pushed British Israelism and all this other stuff. But he had a piece of it, folks.
He did. We talked about this, remember?
Yeah.
Remember? Go ahead. Right.
So I want to tell people right now, listen, folks, the way the dialectic works, I said it this weekend in my study, we're victims of our own ignorance. And what do I mean by that? Brandon Sibley's thought processes from 2 years ago is not my thought processes to today. And the reason why that is, as I've gained knowledge, I've been able to apply that knowledge using wisdom and discernment to better fit the truth. There's no download of the truth. That's not how it happens. I have to read these massive books of text. I have to read all this stuff. And then at the end of the day, start thinking it through with logic and reasoning to come to a conclusion. And so Bill Cooper, while I love Bill Cooper and a lot of Bill Cooper stuff, I understand and recognize the fallibility of men. and I also recognize that he didn't have at his disposal everything that we have. This is why I say one of the saddest things about today is that we aren't uninformed. What we are is overinformed, and because of that, we take advantage, or we don't think the information's worthy because somebody else is going to disseminate it to us quickly. So I hope that answers your question about Bill. If you're asking me a personal question, I have Bill's book, Behold a Pale Horse. It's in my library of books. But if you ask me today, am I going to go spend time researching Bill Cooper? No, I'm not. I've moved past that. I'm into something where I've got to read law books and define words. I've kind of stepped out of that genre of thinking and moved on to the next stage. So that's that each step is a progress. And if that Bill Cooper has been part of my progress, and as far as that goes, he helped me. So that's all I care about.
Right. Originally, here's the deal. If his clearances were accurate, all of that stuff is suspect right off the bat. One of his biggest stories coming out on CNN back in the early 90s. Back in the early 90s, they didn't have a stranglehold on the media like they do now. So they'd put stories out, especially if they knew he was going to come out and tell a story about a UFO, because that would work to their advantage. He clearly claims he saw something enormous come. If I saw a spaceship come out of the ocean when I'm on a battleship, I'd probably start talking about aliens. You know what I mean? But as he got older, he changed his story. He figured it out. He didn't. And I want
to put this out there too. I want to put this out there. So Rosette Delacroix.
Can you stop interrupting me? Somebody
sorry.
Please comment. No, go ahead.
No, I want to get this Bill Cooper deal out there too, and I want to show people the dichotomy and the two diametrically opposed thought systems, and how people expose someone else while not exposing their own backwards thinking. So Rosette Delacroix, one of the greatest, one of the best gifted women at breaking down cult symbology, is now on BitChute. Had a big expose on Bill Cooper and about how he was horrible to the white race and everything. So that's what it was about, right? But here we go. Rosette Delacroix, who's a National Socialist, still hasn't figured out that any system of men is actually a system of rejecting the Father and his government. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom, not man's kingdom, not your socialist government, not your communist government, not your capitalist government, not none of your governments. And so anybody exposing all these things that still haven't set apart themselves to understand what the kingdom we're supposed to worship, to me, is another person that I'm not saying Rosette's a bad person. She's at another level. She hasn't made those steps yet. So there we go. If you want to ask about Bill Cooper, there we go with another one. And you can get stuck on these limited hangouts, folks, and you can get stuck in these thought processes on these outside extremes. Let me show you the Hegelian dialectic at work. White National Socialism, Black Hebrew Roots movements. With these two, you'll destroy both and synthesize in what the controllers want it to be. And that's how the Hegelian dialectic works at all times.
Indeed. And there are so many limited hangouts and Hegelian dialectics that have been spinning and spinning and spinning. Real quick, Jason Wallace, why are planes flying out of portals? Well, I'll tell you what. Show me some video, because I spend a lot of time with really good cameras pointing at airplanes in the skies, and I don't see them coming out of portals. I do see them spraying, so that's what I stick with. If they are going from portals, I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm not going to get caught up on it. There's other stuff that's a little bit more pressing right now. Some people think airplanes are demonic. Maybe they are. I don't know. But I do know they're spraying stuff in the skies, and I do know they're spraying demonic sigils in the skies because I got video of it. Other than that, there's other things to talk about. Bill Cooper getting shot like a dog in his driveway, that happened. He did something. To me, that's a hero. Was he right about everything? Absolutely not.
Can't be.
Absolutely not. He couldn't have been.
That's right.
Couldn't have been, even with a top secret clearance. You know what I'm saying? Kent Hovind, he was saying something, and they threw him in jail for a long time as an older man. That sucks. You know what I'm saying? Take what you can and leave the rest. All you need to know is that this isn't the only place there is. The flesh, the material isn't the only place. There is a creator. there was a savior, and that's pretty much all you need to know. And try to tell other people, or don't.
Right. And I'll say this. And so somebody's going to run here and go say, Rosette, somebody's talking about you. No, I'm not. Rosette, I've learned stuff from Rosette. I learned stuff from Bill Cooper. I learned stuff from Kent Hovind. I am a culmination of all the stuff that I've ever read, plus my Bible. It is at this stage in the ball game, once I started reading as the law and figuring out the Latin language and the English language, did I take another step forward. So most people have no idea the language that we speak and what it means. And like the guy back here said, they lied. I think it was Armchair Quarterback said they lied about Hitler. Well, let me tell you the truth about Hitler, whether he was a useful idiot or not. It doesn't matter. The truth is the Hegelian dialectic. The United States built up communism. The United States built up National Socialism. The Hegelian dialectic saw the synthesis of the two, and boom, you got the United Nations. So all wars are bankers' wars, and it doesn't matter if Hitler knew or didn't know that he was being used. That serves no purpose until we can understand how this dialectic plays out on every stage of our life. We're not ever going to stop it.
And here's the other thing. Where do you think Germany came from? Absolute decimation and poverty. How did they build up this entire blitzkrieg abled military, end up on Time magazine? You know what? None of this is accurate. The Balfour Declaration, the 6 million number, that was all way before
that's
World War II. You know what I'm saying? This was all,
Well, what Hitler did that was great was, I believe Hitler did bring back unity back to the German people by getting rid of the Talmud and everything else. I do know that to be the truth. But the point being that the money behind the games saw it useful to use the National Socialism to fit their agenda, and knew at the end of the day that it was gonna materialize to their benefit. And that's what I'm talking about here. We definitely know, we can see this after many years of witnessing how it's used, that any system of men that run off this community guidelines, like socialism, communism, or whatever, that are using the UCC codes or whatever treaties or whatever, are always going to fall back in the wrong system, right? And that's just truth. And if you think you're going to go to war with this system, you can't. You got to do the opposite. You got to make peace with it.
Everything is a rich man's trick is a good video. But again, take what you can and leave the rest. They're not going to hit on all cylinders. I see the Phil Schneider question. Yeah. I don't know, man.
Let's not turn this into a show of we should have never fell into this trap neither, right?
I hear you, but it just the comments keep coming and coming and coming. Phil Schneider, my comment, I don't know. Take aliens, call them demons, maybe. I don't know what goes on in Area 51. Nobody does. In my opinion.
And look, so anybody here, listen, folks. Everybody has some information that is somewhat useful. Take what you can, leave the rest. I mean, Brandon Sibley is not the arbiter of all truth in this world. The only thing that I can tell you and say for unequivocally, it's 100% true, that the Bible that is in your hand has been used as a tool of deception, but it's actually a tool of freedom. It is your living trust. It is your guideline. It is your government. It is
explain that. Take that last sentence, because you haven't done it yet.
I can't do it yet. I'm doing it Sunday.
I'm showing it.
Yeah. Okay. So look. So let's do this.
Listen to this.
I'll give you a little piece of this. So, our Father who art in heaven. So a trust has principles, right? You have a settler. You have the first trustee, which has to be the testator. The first trustee has to have a testator, and then you have the beneficiaries, right? So, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Making the name is important. Hallowed, set apart, holy. Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom. Thy kingdoms are systems. This is your government. This is where your government comes from. It is your law. It is your code. It is everything you ever need to live off of is in this Bible. Okay. No, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will. That will, the living will and testament, Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, as above, so below. That's where that comes from. That's the real meaning of it, by the way. And give us this day our daily bread. He gave you your daily bread. It's life. And I'm going to correlate that, take it deeper into John chapter 6 this week. I'm not going to go all the way through it. But listen, give us our daily bread and forgive us our debts, or forgive us our trespasses. Both of them are based off of debt. You're taking something from a man that isn't yours, as we forgive our debtors. We're making peace. Remember, it's always about making peace. It's not making war, right? As we forgive our trespasses. And lead us not into temptation. Lead us not back into that system, but deliver us from the evil one, the systems of men. Anyway, and for thine is the power, the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. So listen, this is your actual agreement. So you have the consideration, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. You have the agreement. I agree to this covenant. I agree to this contracts and the way contracts and covenants work. That means there's terms and conditions to that. And so you have the obligations, right? That ends up with obligations once you agree to it. And we are obligated to live on the kingdom of heaven on earth. We are supposed to be ambassadors of righteousness, not living in the systems of men, but outside of it. Holy, 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 set apart, set apart, set apart. And so the triangle, which makes your trust, is your settler, your first trustee. Our first trustee would be Yahuwah. There's no mediator between God and men, but Yahushua, right? So he is the testator of this contract, and we are the beneficiaries. We are the sons of God, the B'nai Elohim, for those in Hebrew. But it's the perfect book to set us apart. That's why you see it on the outside of Congress and everything else. You're leaving the perfect law. Listen, they practice law. They're going to continue practicing law. That's what they do. They're going to practice law and practice witchcraft. We have the law perfected. And what we live in today is a land of inequity, lawlessness. And nobody understands really what they're holding. And the reason for that is because men and women have lost the ability to read and write and comprehend what they're reading. The words are too hard to understand. We've got bad definitions and all this stuff. But I'm telling you, when you look at that document, you say that Father's Prayer, you have the living trust right there in front of your hands. And I'm going to continue going down this line of thought, because I'm almost, like I said, the principles are there, the contract's there, the covenant's there. And this really should open up some doors as I continue to uncover this false system of law that has us trapped in acting as dead men.
Well done. Well done. I knew I'd get it out of you. You still didn't give it all up, though.
No, I didn't. I had to keep some.
That's cool. That's cool. No worries. I just wanted to again. I even muted my mic. I just said, let him go. Let him go.
I kept some of it.
All right, brother. We're at 2 hours, man. Can you believe I didn't want to even do this in the beginning?
I know, but you know what I want to say, brother? When you come in here and you're downtrodden because you get to verbalize it and talk about it, you start feeling better. And you know, this is medicine, man. We this stuff, we hold all this stuff in, and it's not good for us. It's not good for us to hold it in.
You're talking to a guy that live streams like 15 hours a week. I hear you. It's all good. You can't miss that when Big Sib's in the house, man.
I love it.
So cool.
I'm psychoanalyzing.
Nice. And we love you too, Claire.
Yeah. Hey, Claire. You give a couple shout outs. You want to roll through them?
Go through it, brother. I'm right there. Go ahead.
Right. A practical experience. Hey, Claire, Psych Dragon, Jeff Payant. Let me see. Awake in the 90s. I know my sister Maine was in here at one time. Dylan Becker, Michigan Watch. Let's see who else we got. Truth Within Us, True North, Jamie Chico, Reclaim Your Brain, of Aaron C. There you go. Highland. Hey, buddy, Highland. Armchair Quarterback. Hey, thank y'all for coming, guys. Know that we love you.
All right. We got Peter Lemon, Daniel Thomas, Persona Non Grata, Little Wing 6 was 9. Paula's Naturals, Teddy Lee Chalk or whatever. Helicat First, EABB. That's a terrible name, dude. Lacy is Laced. You got the wrench. Use it wisely, my dear. Mimi Praise, Fallout Shelter, Teresa C. I gave Fallout Shelter a re-up on my channel the other day. I hope that helped. It was a pretty decent show. Try to get to the point when you make a video. People have quick attention spans. Keep it under 10 or just keep it interesting. Ezekiel's Wheel, 1, 2, 3, Maria Antonelli, Planet XY, Planet X or Y are not real. Just saying, sorry to tell you. SOL Truth, Timothy P, Brenda J, May, and Dub Mundo. If I didn't see you, it wasn't to dish you or whatever. It didn't even rhyme. Inapologetically me. Check this out. Check this out, guys. I don't know how many times I got to say this, but I mean, your call. Google censors the chats now. So if you swear or say anything that you know or should know is a trigger word, you're going to get yourself censored and you're maybe going to get the channel in trouble. If I see it happening over and over again, I'm going to start having to draw a conclusion, which might mean you're out. Sorry to say it, but it is what it is. At any rate, oh my God, somebody said planet. Yeah, I've been saying planet for 45 years. It comes out. It happens. All right. If that's all you can come up with after 2 hours of everything you just heard, you know.
Hardcore, huh?
You know. At any rate.
Bye,
right.
Brandon.
Brandon, the Big Sib. Links will be in the comments, pinned in the comment section. You got anything, any announcements, anything like that, brother?
No, I've got a good study coming this weekend, guys, and know that we love you. And thank y'all for coming and supporting.
Listen to this real quick, as concisely as you can. If somebody can't find someone to baptize them to the way they believe they're supposed to be, they're not condemned to hell.
No, this is symbolic. This is about your
It is.
Right. It is. But it is something. Listen, we used to be in communities where everybody did this. This isn't no sprinkling of a baby. That's not when it happens. It happens as a full-grown adult when you make a real decision to give your life over to this. It's not any of that stuff. This is a real life decision. When you've made that leap of faith to go that way and start walking the path is when you should get it. It's not sprinkling the babies, the Catholic deal, and everything else. But no, if you can't find it, folks, you know, that may be something down the road that something else happens, but this is a symbolic gesture. The Father knows your hearts. It's in here. So you could find somebody to do it. And I'm sure, I promise y'all you do. Look, it was one of the best moments of my life just to share it with anybody. The experience, it was like, I come up out of that water, buddy. I was like, yeah, here we go.
Right.
But, you know,
all right. I'm going to wrap this one up with a prayer. It's an easy one because I can remember it.
Let's do it.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thy is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever.
Yes, sir. All right, buddy. I'm proud of you.
I'm getting there.
I'm loving it.
All right, guys. Richie from Boston, Brandon the Big Sib. Everything will be in the chats, and we are out.